Like, I pulled up in the building like I was a star. Like, I was the baddest disabled thing rolling through the expo, okay? Hey you guys, it's your girl AP and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if it's your first time. If you don't know me, like I said at the beginning, my name is AP. I am a makeup enthusiast, a cosmetics line owner, and I'm also a blogger at www.apyoungblog.com. So today we're going to do something a little different. I know I typically come to you guys with maybe like makeup, fashion hauls, things like that, but today I want to talk about something that, I think is important. I'm going to talk about my mobility, and I'm also going to give you guys a really quick review about using the Scootaround service. And I know, before y'all start scratching your heads, I'm going to get well into that. So if you've come over to my YouTube from my Instagram, then you guys are already familiar with who I am and what I deal with. But if you're new here because you stumbled upon me somehow, some way, I have osteoarthritis and I also have hypothyroidism. Both cause joint pain, but the osteoarthritis causes me severe joint pain in the hip because it's bone on bone, and I also have it severely in my pelvis. If you want to know more about how I got it and all that stuff, it's on my blog. I will link it in the description below. The important thing to know is, no, I don't have arthritis because I'm fat, but being this size does exacerbate it. I am in the process of going through weight loss surgery and all sorts of things. So I don't want this to be a conversation about size because that's not what we're here for. So having the arthritis has really been difficult over the last few years. I got my diagnosis in 2017, but the symptoms showed up in 2016 and they've progressively gotten worse. And it started out as a small limp to one that is now super significant, and it impacts my mobility on a day-to-day basis to the point where I cannot stand for long periods of time because I have to put most of my weight on my right side, then my lower back is all jacked up. Walking creates unbelievable pain. I had to make a lot of changes in my lifestyle, even to the point where we had to move so that we could have a one-level house so that I wasn't having to go up and down the stairs. So like, arthritis is really taking me on a roller coaster ride. Let me just say that. So I attended the TCF Style Expo here in Atlanta, hosted by the curvy fashionista herself, Marie Dene. I attended as press, and I've been attending since 2017. Last year was really difficult because I had my cane, but the location was at Cobb Galleria, and I underestimated the amount of walking I was going to have to do. And that resulted in me having a lot of pain and swelling, but I was also flaring from the hypothyroidism. So it just exacerbated the pain I was feeling in my body the whole entire weekend, and I wasn't able to enjoy it as much as I wanted to. This year, when I knew that I was going to be returning, I knew it was really important for me to have a motorized mobility aid. Now, if you've read my blog, then y'all know how prideful I was about even getting a cane, how prideful I was about having to get a handicap placard for my car, let alone to get a motorized mobility aid. Now, I stumbled upon Scootaround back in May because I had a convention to go to, and I needed mobility equipment. I knew I wasn't going to be able to walk around the Mercedes-Benz Stadium here in Atlanta. The way I stumbled upon them was actually crazy. It was that I had tried to rent a power chair from another company, and they fell through at the last minute. And then Scootaround came up on my Google search, and they had equipment that I needed, but they only had like a motorized scooter or a manual wheelchair. I opted for the manual wheelchair because I was taking public trans, and I wasn't sure how that was going to fit on the train. But I kept them in the back of my mind because the service is awesome. They come, you can schedule it online or you can call, whatever you're more comfortable with. They're going to take down the information, dates, how long you need it. You can browse what types of rental equipment they have. So if you need a power chair, a scooter, a manual wheelchair, walkers, they have it. And once you make your selection and everything's finalized, they literally deliver it to your front door. Or if you're traveling like to a cruise or out of state, they can actually deliver it to your hotel or, you know, your port of call, or is it call? You know, where the cruise shows up to pick you up. Being that I had this great experience using them back in May, it was like an absolute no-brainer for me to utilize them again going to the expo. Now, this time around, I did opt for a mobility scooter, and I did that because I like the independence. One thing about having the arthritis is it has forced me to have to rely on people. So in moments where I can be independent, I choose to be independent. So like I said, I opted for the motorized scooter, and it was cool because we were driving. So the scooter was able to fit into the back of my van because we put the seats down. We have a minivan. But if I were to purchase one of my own, I would probably need to get a hitch for the back of the car. But again, once more, the delivery guy was the same guy I had last time. He was awesome. He pulled up to my garage so that we didn't have to worry about getting it over the front steps of my house. We parked it. It came with a charger. I think I'm going to insert a picture here. I was surprised by how compact it was because it has a weight capacity of up to 400. So usually when you have vehicles like that or mobility aids like that, they're on the larger side. But this was more compact than I expected. The handles folded down, the seat folded down, everything was like you're able to make it compact if you need to. Like not super compact, but enough to get it moved into your van if you have one. So I was nervous at first, like after Tony dropped it off, like I rode around in my driveway for a little bit to get a feel for how it was going to be, because this was my first time using a mobility aid like this, you know, outside of being in like Walmart or a grocery store and using, you know, the standard store cart. I was nervous, you know, like being in a fat body and having a disability, there's plenty of implications there. I've written about that on my blog, you guys can check it out. But I felt comfortable once I had gotten, you know, ride around on it a little bit, get familiar. It's really simple to drive. It's like nothing crazy, but I also appreciated that the speed is adjustable. So I had to turn all the way up at the beginning, which I might have ran over hubby's toes. All good though. He's walking. But once I got comfortable riding it around, I was prepared and ready to show up at the expo. So we were in downtown Atlanta this time. Our parking was maybe like 5 minutes away from the facility. And for the first time, I didn't have to be dropped off at the door. Like I was able to get out of the car with my husband and ride alongside him. And while that may not be something significant to people who are mobile, if you've ever had to experience any kind of incapacitation at all, you know why that's so important. Like, I pulled up in the building like I was a star. Like I was the baddest disabled thing rolling through the expo, okay? All jokes aside. It felt good, honestly. Like, there were stairs on the street. I expected that, but it did not trump the freedom that I felt to be able to enjoy the expo. I got to get around, I got to see the exhibits and the vendors and watch the shows and navigate around the building, and it meant so much to me, because when I compare last year to this year and the grief and the anxiety and the pain that I felt after trying to walk around a large venue last year versus the freedom of being able to roll around and experience everything, by the time I got home and my weekend wrapped, I was in tears. Honestly, I had to reflect on it, and I was just like, I'm so grateful. When you have your mobility, you take it for granted. I did. I walked around for about 31 good years and never gave a thought to the fact that, hey, you have the ability to do this. So once it was taken away, I grieved, and I grieved hard. And some days I'm still grieving, and it's 3 years later. So to be able to almost feel like I was back to my old self, being sociable, getting around, and it was as simple as getting a rental unit from Scootaround. I'm grateful, absolutely grateful that a service like Scootaround exists. I'm fortunately in a position where my prognosis is surgery. and that means it's fixable. It's going to take some work to get to a hip replacement because I need weight loss surgery first. So I have a hope that it won't be like this forever, but in the interim, while I'm going through this, it's good to know that there are alternatives for me so that I can stop holding myself up in the house and avoiding going places because the anxiety of having to walk is there. So what I'm going to say is this. I would love to own my own, and I'm probably going to look into financing one through them because they do provide the option to buy equipment as well as rental, and they do have financing options. I don't know what my eligibility is because I haven't applied for it yet, but if that doesn't happen, I still like the knowing that there is service available for me if I need it, and that I can use a service like Scootaround when I need it. So if you are in a similar position as me, check their site out. I'm going to drop it down below so you guys can see it. It's really simple. It's Scootaround.com. They're on Twitter under Scootaround, and they're also on Instagram under Scootaround. So check them out. I know, and even if not for yourself, if you got a grandma, mom, uncle, somebody who has similar health issues, I think it's worth exploring it. Thank you guys so much for joining me and letting me chit chat with you guys about Scootaround. I know it's not my typical thing that I do on my social media or my YouTube, but my disability is very much a part of my life. So I think it's worth discussing these topics. This is why I do it on my blog, because disability deserves visibility just as much as our favorite makeup, our favorite products, because now this is a favorite product of mine. Scootaround is definitely going to be on my list of faves, and I appreciate you guys coming and checking it out. So until next time, of course, hit all the links down below, yada yada, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. I will see you guys next time.